Dear Excellencies, dear colleagues, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Yes, I'm the director of a research infrastructure in the social sciences, so bear with me. My presentation will be much more practical. I will give you a snapshot of how we collaborate internationally and yes, how we do work. For those who are not acquainted with our infrastructure, we are the consortium of European social science data archives. We are a virtual pan-European research infrastructure. We are owned by 22 member states, and our seat is in Bergen, Norway. We, in addition to our member states, we connect 12 other data archive infrastructure in Europe. We provide data services to social scientists, but increasingly also to other research disciplines across the whole data life cycle of research. We focus mainly on data collection, data curation, long-term data preservation. We are a member of certain data-driven communities such as the European Open Science Cloud or the Research Data Alliance. We have a memorandum of understanding with other research infrastructure in the social science and the humanities, which is called SHOC, and I will talk about SHOC a bit later. And we have recently established a memorandum of understanding of CODATA, which is the Committee of Data of the International Science Council. So our mission is to provide a sustainable research infrastructure that enables the research community to conduct high-quality research in the social sciences to contribute to effective solutions to the major challenges facing society today. So just give you an insight of our member states, which are presented in our General Assembly and the partners. Yes, CESSDA as an ERIC is, ERIC stands for European Research Infrastructure Consortium. It's a legal entity created by the European Commission, and by definition, we contribute to the European endeavor with science for diplomacy by using science cooperation to improve intergovernmental relations in the social sciences data spaces. And as my colleague previously said, my interpretation of science for diplomacy is, of course, research-based. The definition is research-based. But before CESSDA became an ERIC, important diplomacy for science action were necessary to negotiate the negotiations with the different countries and collaboratively how to join the infrastructure and abiding to our common statutes. So we are also in discussion with countries outside Europe which are interested to join the research infrastructure and which are not from Europe. Perhaps interesting is also we support each other in times of conflict, and the best example at the moment is we give support financially, and we support also by researchers to the Ukrainian Data Archive. The Ukrainian Data Archive is currently hosted in the Czech Republic by one of our members. So, and the scientists there continue to collect data and to monitor the state of the society in Ukraine. Yes, very shortly, which type of service we support, and I think it's the same which resilience as a upcoming research infrastructure is doing. We facilitate research access to important resources for European social science research, regardless of the location of the researcher or data. We develop and coordinate standards, protocols, best practices and policies on the use, reuse, preservation and dissemination of data. We provide training, and we also provide training and widening activities for also non-members. We have a continuous data source intake to our social science data catalog, which is the biggest, largest data catalog in the social sciences in the world with 15 languages. And perhaps important is that we adhere to the data sovereignty principles, that data is subject to the laws of the countries or jurisdiction in which it's physically stored. But perhaps more important in this context is not the services, but the ripple effect which such infrastructure at the European or globally have, notably for the national level or even institutional level. It's by exchange of best practices, consensus building, mutual support of the members and partners, representation, and knowledge transfer among the disciplines and beyond, and furthering cross-disciplinary collaboration. Such infrastructure can serve as a tool for diplomacy. And it's my belief, though we just heard that things getting worse, I still believe that there is an increased awareness of the importance to exchange knowledge and mutual understanding among nations in a complex world. And it requires in our case, it's data we share and not religious knowledge, but we share data to tackle societal challenges. And I give you some examples where it's very important. For example, enhancing the collection access to research data in the public health data space. So collecting socioeconomic data and combining them with environmental data, or in the digital cultural heritage domain to preserve the heritage in galleries, libraries, archives, and museums. And I think what is also important is to understand that history, tradition, culture, language, and religious influence the type and nature of data collected of individuals. And in the advent of artificial intelligence, this is quite important. So I come to one of the last few slides, is that at the moment we collaborate with our colleagues in the social science humanities domain. Notably also Resilience is one of the partners in a cluster which is called SHOCK. And what is important here is by pooling our common knowledge and resources, we are not able to cater to the research communities, but also to represent towards civil society or the private sector, or increasingly to policymakers for advising. We also collaborate with other research infrastructure, so we can really have cross-disciplinary benefits. Let's, for example, in the environmental sciences, for example, working on climate neutral and smart cities, biodiversity, or COVID. And I hope you have seen a glimpse that social science research infrastructure as a tool for research collaboration are as valid as other more single-sided physical research infrastructurally, and a good tool for scientific collaboration. But yes, and providing evidence-based to governments in the fields such as health, welfare, demographics, public opinions, labor market, migration, upskilling, equity, ethics, and religious are important in terms of understanding social dynamics in the context of transformational changes of society. Thank you very much for your attention.